Hello guys, and welcome back to TV34 Multimedia Productions. And today I'm just going to show you a little bit about how I edited and put together my fishing videos. So the program that I'm using is my favorite editing program that I've been using for a long time, Pinnacle Studio. And the one I'm using right now is Pinnacle Studio 18. And I'll let you see how I'm going to set up everything. I've already downloaded all of my files from my GoPro, and this is the files that I'm going to be using here, 224 through uh, 237, I think it is. Yep, to 237. So they're already loaded into my computer, and what I need to do first is download them into the Pinnacle Studio. So I'm going to go into the video segment, and this is where I go in to download my files or upload them into Pinnacle Studio. And then just look for the folder that they're in, which is fishing season August 2023, and there's 224 and 230, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So those are all the files that I'm going to load into Pinnacle Studio. So I'm going to upload those now. And as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, they're uploading over here. Let's wait for all of them to upload, and then what I'll start doing is just dropping the files one by one into the timeline and do my edits. So hopefully the video won't be too long, but I just want to show you the process of how I put everything together. Okay, so all the files have been downloaded. Now what I'm going to do is start with let me see, I think it was 230 is going to be the first one I'm going to drop into the timeline. That was I went out the other day after work and did a little bit of fishing, so I got a chance and got lucky and caught 3 fish. So I'm going to show you just what I did. This is the first file. I'm going to put it on track 3 so that I can put an overlay title on it, and if I want to put some music down at the bottom track, I'm going to do that. So while it's saving, I'm going to go in and change the name of it. Save movie as, and I'm just going to call it my fishing tutorial. Edits, and I'm going to save it in the file August 2023 from this August of this year fishing season. Save it. I'm going to say what it's doing is rendering the file now, right now. So once it's through rendering, that green bar goes away, so it's ready to play back.
What? Got me a good one.
The first catch that I got.
Got me a good one.
Now I want you to see what happened at the end when I catch this one. Did you see that? Line broke right as it came ready, getting ready to pull him in. So luckily he stayed right at the bank and I was able to grab him. Hook is still in his mouth and everything.
Oh, nice catch.
Thanks.
So that's one that I got lucky on, and it didn't flop and get back in the water. If he had started wiggling, he would have dove back in the water
broke
and
the
got
line,
away.
but I got him right before he got in. There we go. There we go. Let me get a weight on this baby real quick and get him back in the water.
Okay, so right there at this point is where I'm going to do a cut. And I just did my little cut right here with my razor blade. So I cut that, and I'm going to delete that little portion that I don't need. And so now I'm going to go to the next clip, which is the part where I'm going to actually weigh the fish. It's 231. And while that's rendering, I'm going to go in, and before I actually put the clip together, I'm going to play it back and see where I can cut it to blend it in with the ending of the first clip. So I'll wait for it to render real quick so that I can play it back nice and smooth. Depending on the type of system that you're using, the process can take a while, or it can be very slow. I've heard a lot of people complain about Pinnacle Studio, and to me it really depends on the type of system that you have and the processor. All of that makes a difference. So let me play it back and see what I've got and see where I can do my edit.
193. $193 on that one. Getting back in the water in just a minute.
Playing it back just to see where I want to do a cut. I'm probably going to back it up and cut it because of where I took my phone out, so there's no video of the fish or anything right now. So I'm going to stop it and I'm going to back it up after I get the weight.
193 on that one. Getting back in the water in just a minute.
Right there. Let me back it up just a little bit.
In just a minute.
Right there. And I can do a cut. Get rid of that part that I don't need. That's extra footage. I can delete that. And now I can go to the next part. And I think this is the part where it's the release.
All right,
Yep.
we got this one.
So now I know I can drop this on the timeline. That's the little short part where the release. I'll let that render real quick. And then play it back.
All right, we got this one real quick. Getting back in the water. One and a half pounder. All right, he scooted off.
Okay, I can cut it right there. Now what I'm going to do is blend or merge the files in. So I'm just going to just drag this over. It's like a little fade from one segment to the other. And I'll play it back just so you can see it. I don't need you, Creative Cloud. Get out of here. Now I'll go back and just let you see how it blends in from one scene to the next.
Let me get a weight on this baby real quick and get him back in the water. $193. $193 on that one. Getting back in the water in just a minute. All right, we got this one real quick. Getting back in the water. One and a half pounder. All right, he scooted off.
Okay, so that's what we have so far. And one of the things that I like about Pinnacle Studio is that it automatically saves your files for you. But I always go in and just do a file save movie just to make sure if I have to go in and do any edits or anything, I don't lose anything, or if the system crashes, or if I have a power outage or anything like that. Everything that I've edited so far will stay just the way it is. So now we're ready to move on to the next part. I'm going to add the other video portion where I caught another fish. Let me drop that one down in here, short clip, and we'll wait for that one to render. Okay, now that that one is done, we can play it back just to see what we've got.
bucket. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro.
So right there, it didn't stop recording right away, so once I land the fish, I'll cut it.
Let me get my...
I'll just cut it right there. Show the catch. And then let me go back and pull down the other file where I've got the weight. I'm going to put this piece in, then I'm going to show you something else that I'm going to do. Okay, this is the part where I'm going to be weighing the fish. As you can see, it's rendering once again. And like I said, depending on the type of computer that you have and the processor and everything, that determines how fast it's going to render the video. And a lot of times, if you have a pretty good processor and you got a pretty good system, you won't have to worry about the system crashing like a lot of people talk about with Pinnacle Studio. Okay, so it's done processing, rendering rather, so now we can play it back and see how it looks where I want to edit.
Alright, got the second one. $128. $128 on that one. $128 on that one. Get a picture and get it back in the water in just a minute.
Okay, we'll cut it right there. And we can delete that portion. Now, because this part right here is the second part or different spot where I was fishing at, I'm going to go into transitions and I'm going to change and put in a different transition as opposed to a crossfade. So I'm going to look for a little fun and look for my little fishing fade. There it is right here, gone fishing. So I'm going to take that and just drop it right into the timeline right there. And let that render. And I'll show you what it does.
Pounder. Alright, he scooted off.
So there's a nice transition from one scene to the next.
Number 2.
And then I can stop that. I can close this part out and go back into my video files on my latest collection import. That's where I'm getting all my files from. So now right now with this one I'm going to do the transition again, the fade from one to the other, and I'll show you that once it renders. This was after I caught the fish and I had to go to the car to get my bag so I could weigh it.
Let me get my... Alright, got the second one.
Okay, so that part where we've got it weighed and we're ready to go to the next segment.
128.
So I can stop that. And let's see, I think the next segment here, let me just scroll down a little bit. 235, I think this is the one where I'm going to release it.
Another catch and release.
Okay, so now I can drop that one into the timeline. Move that down a little bit so I have space to see what I'm doing. As you can see, that's a little short clip. And we'll let that one render real quick.
Another catch and release. Getting back in the water. 128.
Okay. So now I can cut that one right there at that point. And I don't need to edit at the beginning of it. I can just do a little fade it right in, little short clip, play it back,
Get a picture and get it back in the water in just a minute. Another catch and release. Get him back in the water. 128.
Okay, so now we've got that segment done. I'm going to go in and save it again just to make sure that I don't lose anything. Just click Save Movie and it's going to automatically save it, my fishing tutorial edits. And I'm ready to move to the next clip where I caught another one. And this is in the same area, so not gonna use the other transition. I'm just gonna play it back and do a little edit on it. So we just wait for that to render. As you can see, that clip was a little bit longer. We have to trim it down some, but we'll see how it looks. I'm just waiting for it to render. And all these files I'm catching with my GoPro that I have, shoulder harness, and I got my GoPro attached, and I'm just recording video as I catch the fish. And I'm just showing you how I do my little edit to put it all together, to post on YouTube or social media or Facebook, whatever I want to do. Okay, so the rendering is done on that one, so now I can play it back.
Number three. Number three.
Using my famous spinnerbait that I love using.
Number three right there.
Another decent catch.
Small one, but check it out and see what we got.
Any catch is a good catch.
That's a pound. $114. $114 on that one. Get it back in the water.
Okay, now I can do a cut right there at the end, so I don't need you to hear GoPro turn off, so I can just edit that part out. That's the magic of editing. So I've got that part done, and now let's see, I think I've got one more clip to add to this part. Let me see if this is it. I think this is the release part again. Yep, so I can add that on. Short clip, and give it a moment for it to edit. Now I can play it back.
114 on that one. Get it back in the water. See if I can get maybe one more.
Then I can cut it right there at that part. And now I can go back over and blend these in. Just a little short clip there. Short clip there, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when I fade it in. And I'll just skip over to this part. Excuse me.
Get it back in the water. 114 on that one. Get it back in the water. See if I can get maybe one more.
Okay, so that's everything that I have so far. Now what we're going to do is go back to the beginning of the whole clip. This is the beginning of it, and what I'm going to do now is add my my title page that I put over it. Fishing Detroit title that I put that let it plays throughout the whole video. So I'll take that. Do I want to go to titles first, or do I want to add my other little segment? Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the title, but I'm going to go to the end. Oh, I want to go back to the end of this. Go back to the end, and I'm going to put a title in. I'll let the title render real quick, and now I can go in and edit the title. So I'm going to double click on the title, and change the text format. We just put it to this, and then I'm gonna just title this bonus footage. I can just leave it just the way it is, or if I want to, I can go in and create some motion to it. If I want to go in and have it fade in like that, I'll just put that in there, click OK, and then if I want to extend it to a few seconds longer, I can extend it, and as you can see, it's rendering. And once we got that part done, I'll let you see how it looks.
See if I can get maybe one more.
So that's bonus footage, and now I'm going to go back to the collection, latest import. I'm going to go back to the original video that started with let me see, I think it was 224. I think this is the one where my wife caught one.
Alright, she got her one.
Yep, I'm going to add that in as bonus footage at the end. And I'll let that clip render. So got the rendering process going for that clip, and let you see that's a little bit longer, and I'll do a little bit of edit on that one. And right now, as you can see, my whole video file size is about 5.5, almost 6 minutes. And I still got a little bit more editing to do. I'm going to try to keep it simple, but just show you how I do the process of editing my video files whenever I put together a fishing video clip. So we just wait for a minute for that to edit. And we're gonna excuse me, we're gonna go back into the titles in just a minute, and I'm gonna put in my Fishing Detroit logo, if you want to call that, over the top of the video file. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, if you notice, since we've been doing this little edit, I haven't had any problems with Pinnacle Studio freezing or dropping out or shutting down, anything like that. So again, it depends on the kind of processor and everything that you have, the amount of memory that you have with your computer. That all of that makes a difference as far as the editing process, especially with Pinnacle Studio, because it's been known to have a lot of bugs. So now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go back into my bonus title. I'm going to add a little flair to it. So I've got it in motion, and then I'm going to put emphasis on it, where I have it just light up like that, and give it just a little extra. And I'll play that back once it renders and let you see how it looks. Okay, there we go.
Get it back in the water, see if I can get maybe one more.
So that gives it a little extra for the video. And then we go right into the next segment.
Alright, she got her one. We went over to the right side.
Calm down.
Now with this one, we were testing out our two mic system that I use, and as you can see, it's line of sight is
get you off in a minute.
Bit,
does it seem like it's a pound? Oh yeah, it's a pound.
Huh?
It's a pound.
So she's
It's a
back with a
pound.
video so
Oh,
you can hear
it
her
came
talking.
off.
Stop. 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 It's not a big one, but it'll do.
She got a one. Let's see what we got.
Went around to the far side.
110. You want to weigh it again?
Of course. Of course.
110.
Pros get a second shot. 110.
You got 110 on that one. You want to grab the lip? Take it off. I could take a picture. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
I can cut it this part right here.
You want to grab the lip? Take it off. I could.
I cut it right there. And let me see if there's anything else that I want to add to it, or if I want to end it right there.
Take a picture. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
I need to add this part too.
I shouldn't throw that on the ground. Ooh.
Hold it up so we can see it.
I'm trying to see which is the best way.
Oh, turn around the other way so
This
the
one?
sun. Uh-huh.
This way?
Got 110 on that one. GoPro stop recording.
Okay, so I can just eliminate this whole little clip because I don't need that part there. So I can delete that. Okay, so for now, I've got everything that I want to put in the video. It's all done and complete. So we're going to go back to the beginning. I just want to scan over and look at something real quick. Okay, instead of doing a fade right here after the bonus footage, I'm just going to have it roll right into the video clip. So right after the bonus footage, it goes right into the video.
All right, she got her one.
So we can stop that. Go back to the beginning. I'm going to do another file save just to make sure that everything is saved and I don't lose anything. So now this is the part where I was talking about. I'm going to go in and put my my video logo over the top of the whole video segment itself. So I'm going to go into titles again. I'm going to go into blank title. I'm just going to drop it on track 2 because it's going to be an overlay on the top. So there it is right there. Wait for that to render. Then I can go in and edit it. And I'm going to go in and change that to this text here. I'm going to make it bold and make the size a little bit smaller. And we're going to call it Fish in Detroit. Okay, so we've got that. Now it's just a matter of where I want to put it. I can put it down here at the bottom where I've got a lot of the greenery so you can see it. I can leave it right there, and you can see it's down in the right corner, Fish in Detroit. I can put it pretty much wherever I want to, but I like to keep it a sort of out of the way so you can see the video and see everything that's going on. So now what I'm going to do is extend this video clip, the overlay, all the way across the whole video. So I'm just going to grab it right here on the end and just push it all the way across. Just drag it all the way across till it gets to the end. And once it gets to the end, I can go back, stop it right there. And I'm going to show you a little secret that I'm going to do, or a little trick. I'm going to go to this clip right here. I'm going to lock this video track, the main track. I'm going to lock that. Then I'm going to go in and edit and slice out the Fishing Detroit part on this end, so it's not over. It doesn't show over that part right there. So I'm going to go in and let me unlock it again. Get to that track, lock it back, do a cut, then unlock it, go to this end, lock it, do another cut, and I can remove this title part here, see if it's going to delete it, or is it going to snap everything back together. See, it snapped it back together, and what I want to do is move this over, so everything should line right back up on the end. Play around with it and wait for it to edit. Wait for it to render rather. I may just need to add a little bit to the end here. Okay. I can unlock this. Now I can go in and save it while it's rendering. I'll let you see the rendering process of what it's doing. A lot of times when it renders all of the little edits and everything that you do first, because you see all that part is clear. All the little edit portions have been rendered already, and now it's rendering the main video part. And again, depending on the computer and the processor and everything that you're using and how long your video file is, it can take a long time to render or it can take a short time. So this is a short video clip, so it shouldn't take that long to render everything. The process is going pretty smooth and pretty quickly, so be patient just a moment while I get everything rendered, just so I can show you the whole process of just how easy and simple. That's the other thing, how simple this particular editing process is with Pinnacle Studio. That's what I like about it. It's a three-step process: organize, edit, and author. You know, you can drop your files, upload your video files into Pinnacle Studio, do your edits, and then you can export. And I'll show you what I'm going to do once I'm done with it. I'm going to export it into an MP4 file, or I can render it straight out to post to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever I want to use for social media. So still rendering a little bit. It's got a little bit more to go. And the computer that I'm using is a Dell computer. It's got an Intel processor in it. I think it's got 8 gigs of memory. I'm not sure. I have to look at the specs and see. I just want to show you the process again, how I process and edit my little video files for my fishing videos before I post them to social media. And again, depending on how much footage I have and what all I want to do, the process can be quick and simple, or I can add music to the timeline if I want to do that. I can go down to track 4 and I can add a audio track to it if I want to. I can add music. I just go to my audio files where I already have a lot of my music files loaded, and I can just add music track to the bottom of it if I want to have uh, music overlay or music playing in the background. And we're going to skip that part for now and just show you the process of putting this all together. So I've got all the clips together, the edits are done, and there's one last thing that I'm going to do right at the end. As soon as this finished rendering, I'm going to show you that part, how I fade it out at the end to end the video. Now again, I'm using Pinnacle Studio 18. The newer versions, there's a 26 out right now, and I've heard a lot of complaints. I do have Studio 26, but I like this particular version of it because it's pretty stable. I don't have a lot of problems with it. I know there's been a lot of bugs with a lot of Pinnacle Studio files on program itself, but again, it depends on the processor and the system that you're using, how good it's going to work. So you got to have a robust system. You got to have a good system in order for it to run smoothly and for it to work exactly the way that you want to. So this particular system that I'm using, the Dell processor, Dell computer, is working pretty good. Okay, so everything is done at this point. We've got everything finalized. I'm just going to go back to my latest import files just so you can see the video files that we have here. Now what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to fade out the video. So I'm just going to pull this back to fade out the video for the overlay Fishing Detroit part, as well as the video file to fade that out. That's the way that I end my videos a lot of time. Instead of just a straight cut hard ending, I fade them out a little bit, and this is how it'll look at the end.
You want to grab the lip, take it off,
and there you have it. So I can go in and save it, and we've got the video file saved, and then we are pretty much done with this particular setup. The whole editing process is complete. Once I'm done with that, now I'm ready to export the file to an MP4 so that I can export it to social media. So I'm going to go to the export, and I'm going to have it as an MP4 HD 1080p. Got that already set, and the file that I'm going to save it in is Fishing Season August 2023, and I just click on Start Export, and it's going to allow me to save name the file, and I'm just going to call it Fishing Tutorial. With PS18, Pinnacle Studio 18. So I'll know what file it is when I look for it. So we're going to go in, and now it's actually processing the files. It's rendering everything for output as an MP4 file, 1080p high definition, and as you can see right here, I've got 9,000 frames that I've got to process. So it's going through a lot of them pretty quick. You can see the percentage of how quick it's going through, and this down here at the bottom tells me how much space I have on my file, how much is used up, and the estimated file size of the file that I'm exporting. So it's just going through the whole rendering process right now, and this can take a little bit of time too, depending on, again, the type of system that you're using. It's moving pretty fast, which is not too bad. This will probably take 2 or 3 minutes for it to process the whole thing. I'm sorry to make this video a little bit longer, but I just want to show you the whole process of how Pinnacle Studio works, how I edit my videos, and what the final results are. So just going to show you from beginning to end so you can see the whole process. And a lot of times what will happen with Pinnacle Studio that I've noticed in the past with one of my other systems that I use that is not as powerful as the one that I'm using now. Sometimes I can be editing just like this here, rendering the file for an MP4 audio and video file to process on social media, and right in the middle of processing it'll just stop and freeze and it won't do anything else. And a lot of times when that happens, that means that something is not running right with the system, it's clogged up or something has happened. So a lot of times you have to end up shutting the system down or just aborting the whole process, going into Media Manager, whatever, and File Explorer, and then shutting it down, closing out that particular file. And a lot of times when you do that, you have to reboot the system, because if you just try to go back into Pinnacle Studio, it's not going to really pick up where it left off. It's still going to be stuck in that spot. So it needs to, the system needs to refresh itself, so to speak. And once it does that, you'll be able to go back in and finish editing and complete the task of processing your video. So unfortunately, Pinnacle Studio has gotten a lot of flack about how good it is and the bugs that they push out when they send out new versions. And that's the one disappointing thing about it to me, is they do push out a new version almost every year. The cost is usually the same, which is unfortunate. You would think that if you're a regular user and you have the older versions, you would get a discount on it. But it's still averaging anywhere from $89 to $129. And a lot of times they give you a lot of different features and extras that go along with it depending on when you purchase it. But a lot of times when a new version first comes out, don't buy it right away, because you want them to work out the bugs and try to see if they can get everything corrected, because a lot of times the first version that they put out has a lot of problems with it. And it's so much that you can do with this particular program. It's really a nice program, editing software. It really is pretty good. I've been using it since I think Pinnacle Studio 7 or 8, and now it's up to 26. So the one version that they had, and it seemed like it got worse after Pinnacle was sold to Corel. It was run by Avid Studio, and Avid did an excellent job with their work. They had one program that they came out with called Avid Studio, and it was just awesome. The only thing that I hated about it is that they didn't do any upgrades to it, and it would only work on Windows 7. It wouldn't work on Windows 10 or above. So I was disappointed in that, because they just stopped doing upgrades to that Avid Studio, and they just started continuing on with Pinnacle Studio, and they would upgrade each year. And like I said, each year it would cost the same, even if you were a previous user. If you had a previous version, you still had to pay pretty much the same price, and you're just adding one file size or one program after another onto your computer, where normally it would just override the older version and add all of the newer stuff. But this one unfortunately doesn't do that. So again, when you get the newer version, make sure that you wait until they work out the bugs before you decide to purchase it. It's a great program. I love editing with it because it's a real easy process, 3-step process. You can burn files to disk. There's so much that you can do with editing. It gives you a lot of video files automatically with it, a lot of transitions. It gives you audio files, all kinds of extra features that you can do and play around with it. So that makes it really good for the price that you pay for it. It's a really powerful editing software. For all the flack that it gets, it does do a great job with editing videos. I have to say that, and I love it. I love using it. It's a lot easier to work with than some of the other programs that I've played around with in the past. So I'm almost at the end of editing this one now. I'll show you what happened once it finishes the rendering and outputs the video file to MP4. I'm going to see if it's just going to put it out the way that it should. See, we're getting close to the end now. So it's taking about almost 5 minutes for it to edit this part. Which is not too bad for a 5-minute video. As you can see, the quality, depending on the camera that you're using and everything, the quality is really good, and it gives you HD quality output depending on what you're doing and how you're shooting and everything. So all of that makes a difference when it comes to editing video. We're right at the end now. So when it's done, you're going to see a little pop-up right. It's going to show right up in here. I can show you where you can play back your video file. And if all goes as planned, it's going to pop up in just a moment. And it'll show you that it's finalizing the file. Okay, so it just shows you the export is completed. Now I can view it either in QuickTime or Windows Media. So I'm just going to click on Windows Media Player and let it play back real quick and show you a little bit of clip of that.
Got me a good one.
Got my logo over here.
Got me a good one.
Mishap.
Oh, nice catch.
Thanks.
There we go. We're going to stop it right there. And that's the playback. And so we're done with this. I can close this part out. And the whole video file is complete. So that's how I process my video files using Pinnacle Studio, how I put my fishing clips together, my fishing video. I didn't add any background music or anything like that to it. So I hope this was informative to you and that you learned a little bit about how to use Pinnacle Studio. And if you're looking for an editing program, you can try this one out and see what you have. See what you can play around and what you can come up with. The latest version that they have out right now is Pinnacle Studio 26. So check it out. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback on this and what you would have did different or what I could do to add a little extra flavor to it. But I just want to make a basic video and show you how it looks and let you see how I put everything together. Thanks again for watching and stay tuned for more.